Hi, welcome to day 2 of Daily Wisdom Dive, where I'm taking you through a series of 31 days of proverbial insights to help you transform your life. So today we're talking about chapter 2. Chapter 2 really just goes in depth about wisdom, how you can acquire it, what it protects you from, the rewards of it. So we're just going to go ahead and get right into the key takeaway points for Proverbs chapter 2 when it comes to wisdom. Key takeaway point number 1. For wisdom to have any impact in our life, we have to be first willing to accept it and apply it. Proverbs chapter 2 verses 1 through 4. Solomon is instructing his son to really listen to his commandments, take them at heart, incline his ears unto wisdom, and apply his heart unto understanding. So that tells us that not only do we have to receive wisdom, but we also have to be willing to apply it so that it can have any impact in our life. Key takeaway point number 2 is that searching for wisdom and obtaining it requires effort. The Bible tells us here again in verse 4, if you seeketh her as silver and searchest for her as hidden treasures, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. So when we talk about obtaining wisdom, we know that it requires effort, such as searching for silver. We know that to obtain silver and gold, you got to go mining, okay? So we have to be willing to search out wisdom, how we would search out silver and gold or hidden treasures. We understand that the fear of the Lord is where knowledge starts. And again, we said fear is not being afraid, but reverencing and respecting God. So when we go searching for wisdom, it results in us being intimate with God because we know that He's the direct source of wisdom. Key takeaway point number 3, wisdom brings pleasure and protection. Now, when I say pleasure, I mean, I'm pretty sure we've all experienced it, that once we start going after something or we start learning about something, we have that desire to keep learning and learning and learning. And that's where the pleasure comes with wisdom. The more we seek it out, the more we search for it, the more we want to learn it. As far as protection comes in the sense that when we have wisdom, we are less likely to make decisions that will result only in regret. That means we are less likely to make ill-informed decisions or make foolish choices in life. When you have wisdom, you have knowledge, you have understanding, then you are better informed to make certain decisions in life. When you lack wisdom, you may make ill-informed decisions which may cause regret. The last key takeaway point is that wisdom protects us or rescues us from sin or immorality. Now, one thing I want to note here is in Proverbs chapter 2 verses 16 through 22, it talks about the immoral woman or the strange woman. Now, it depends on which translation you're reading. It may talk about the seductress. I believe the New Living Translation talks about seductress. The King James Version talks about the strange woman. But here, the basis of it says, be careful. She might come with smooth words. She forsakes her husband and she basically ignores her covenant that she made with God, pretty much her marriage. And so for the people that go on to her, they face death. Her house leads to death. None of them who go to her returns. But one thing I want to drive home here is, although it talks about immorality as far as from the perspective of an immoral woman or a prostitute, you could also liken it to sin. So although it talks about she comes with smooth words, she forsakes her husband, she forgets her covenant with God, we can liken the same to sin here. That immorality or sin, if you enter the house, it says, those who enter her house is inclined unto death and her paths unto the dead. Those who enter the house of sin, those who give in to sin, are pretty much led down the pathway of death. The Bible tells us the wages of sin is death. And so the deeper we often get into sin, the harder it is for us to return back to the path of life, which would be walking uprightly here. So time with immorality, time with the seductress may seem wonderful, but there are consequences. Just like sin may look attractive, it may look pleasurable, it may look wonderful in the moment, but if we have wisdom, Wisdom is going to allow us to see the path that leads to, or the result that's going to come from heading down that path. Now, a sub point of the previous point that I made, that wisdom rescues us from immorality or sin, is that when we choose to follow the path of the seductress, or we choose to go down the path of sin, there are consequences. And those consequences include the discipline and the judgment of God. Now, we all have a choice. We can choose wisdom and we can choose not to follow wisdom. Whichever one we choose, whichever decision we make, there is a price to pay, but the price will always be higher when we do not choose wisdom. So this wraps up day 2 of 31 days of proverbial insights to transforming your life. Join me back here tomorrow for day 3, where we continue daily wisdom dive. See you guys then.